into his line and managed to tag off all the Suns.
When?
This was against Ali.
Oh!
It's happened! Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 7 of the Gollum's Gamers podcast. So today we're going to be doing another top 5 sort of list. So last time it was of our top 5 favorite heroes in the game. Today we're going to be doing our top 5 favorite warrior profiles in the game. So we're going to get started and see who's everyone's favorite warrior profiles are. So James, over to you.
My number 5 pick is the Knight of Dale.
What?
I don't know why. Never used it. Just it's a very cool profile. Add something new to Dale.
Explain your pick.
Well, it's good, even if you get moved against, or if you get a move first. It's the best of both worlds. You're either getting +1 to wound, or you get to pick your fight. It gives D6 to the army. Every model has a spear. It's pretty cheeky.
James, it's a counterintuitive warrior profile.
Both players.
Makes me think a little bit more because it's not just doing stuff like that. Yeah, I don't mind that pick. I like it.
It's the fact you haven't ever used it before.
Obscure.
It means how can it be your
I've played
favorite?
against it a few times, and it's been pretty effective. So
you don't have to use them for it to be your favorite.
That's what I was saying to you before, Sam. I was like, I wanted to pick one, but I've never actually used it. But I do love the profile. So
my list will continue in this theme of having not played a lot of the models.
It's proper odd from all of you.
Good man. You stay in your lane.
That's cool. It's unique, isn't it?
Exactly.
Facts.
Do you own any?
No, I know Mr. Ashley Walker has a fair few.
Ash does. Yeah.
But he briefly gave up with the Legion.
Yeah. What I like about the Gollum's Games community, it's like a library of models. Just
indeed.
And it's one library to everyone else.
A couple little subsidiaries.
Mainly just the warrior models that are your library, though.
Yeah.
Who's Dalamar?
Yeah, but who's the samurai?
oh, yeah, you just proved against your point. Never mind.
Oh, dear. So James with the Knight of Dale at number 5.
That's
okay. Cool. So moving on, I am next, and my number 5 pick is the Wood Elf Sentinel.
Good pick. Good pick.
At number 5. So I think that's quite good value at the number 5 pick, really.
Serves to be higher.
You know.
Yeah, that's a very good model.
At number 5, I mean, it's a peak of what's to come.
Certainly could feature later.
Indeed.
Not promising anything, but
Sam has a terrible experience against Wood Elf Sentinels, don't you, Sam?
Do I?
What did I do against your Corsairs?
Oh, you just pulled an Arbiter every time.
But it was like 6 in a row, and then one Sentinel and a guard killed your entire almost little warband of Corsairs.
Oh yeah,
it was great fun.
Yeah, it
was an excellent time.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't really explain the pick. So obviously they're elves. They're 2 attacks, which if like late game you need to actually charge it in, it's 2 attacks at fight 5. It's pretty good. You've got a banner there as well. It's got a bow, which people sometimes forget, but it's got a bow. It's sneaky. You don't have to pay extra points for it. Obviously, it's 25 points anyway, but it's got an elven cloak. It's obviously got all the moving model shenanigans.
That's the best bit, though. You got to explain that properly because that's the whole point.
The whole point of the Sentinel. So it's got the same rule as the Dead Marsh Specter, where you choose a model to make it do a courage test. If the model fails the courage test, you can move it. It's full move distance. So compared to like Transfix, you can only Transfix, Compel, you can only move it half. With this, it moves full. So if you do it on like Cav, on like Wargs or something, that are courage like 2 or 3 at the most, then you're moving it like 10 inches to go block something or unblock something. So they're 25 points. They're costly, but they tend to make their points back, especially if you take like 2 with like another caster as well that has Compel. It's usually a bit of a chaotic time. Ash.
And as Sam was saying, throwback to our previous episode, if you use a Sentinel against, for example, Gulliver, and he fails, then your 200-point model is flying 12 inches across the board, and you're going to have a very bad time.
I think that's... Go on. You first, mate. Ladies
I
first.
was just gonna say about if anyone didn't know the rule to do with compel, where you can make the model drop a light object. It just made me think of that, Sam.
Oh.
Yeah, sorry. Carry on.
No, I was just going to say another underrated thing about Sentinels is, although the moving an enemy model spell or the song is the best, the automatically passing a courage test for a friendly model is
that's what I was going to say.
It is an underrated song, and people do forget about it, and it's just guaranteed, guaranteed value.
Yeah, it's really powerful for getting stand fasts on heroes you don't want to necessarily take the risk of running away and stuff like that.
You can also cast terror on itself. So if you're playing Goblin Town and you're on an objective and you don't want to get charged, if you cast the terror spell, potentially you don't get charged that turn and just win the objective. So it's something like that. It's got many uses for 25 points. For once, Elliot, good pick, mate.
Thank you. There's more to come. Don't worry. Okay, so that's my number 5 pick. Moving on next, we have Sam.
Yeah, so unfortunately, my most boring pick of my 5, why it's 5th, it is totally the Lake Town Militia with shield.
Oh,
yes.
I know, guys. I know. I'm really sorry.
Oh dear.
Why are these D5?
I reluctantly put this on my list because I didn't really want to. However, they are so good. They are most probably 1 point undercosted, being 6 points with a shield. To basically, the Lake Town Militia's job is to die slowly. And when you have a 6 point model that can shield with a 12-inch banner, who's nearly always going to be within banner range, they do die quite slowly. But if you just shield everywhere, or if you have, your outnumber, you can obviously fight normally. I think they're just good value for the points you pay. The other thing is that people do forget about, I don't know why they have this rule. I think it's unanimously agreed that it's stupid, is when your army breaks and if you have your friendly hero that has been tagged by a enemy model, all Lake Town Militia within 3 inches of that hero automatically pass their courage tests for stand fast. I don't know why they add it, but it's just, again, counterintuitive to the sense of you want to charge a hero to stop their stand fast, but then they pass anyway, so you can't really get around it. You're going to have to fight the militia that are on the board regardless. You can't make them run, essentially.
Classic Lake Town undeserved cheese.
Yeah.
Why does Lake Town have the best special rules for no reason?
For no reason, right? Bear in mind, all of these fishermen literally just got burned alive or half to death by a dragon. They've crawled out of a lake and somehow they're the same defense as Numenorians who have been trained since birth.
Baffling.
I just...
When you put it like that.
What are we doing?
It's a good rule, but it's actually more niche than you think. It barely ever comes up, to be honest with you. But when it does, it's like, oh shit, I actually get to use this rule. It's pretty cool.
They didn't have enough special rules as it was. Cool. That's the trouble.
Yeah, they only have one warrior profile in the whole of their army, so it's not exactly like they have access to cav or anything. So, yeah, I think they're just good value for points. Yeah.
As a side note there, what you said about they only have one warrior profile, I think there's so many armies like Rivendell, for example, that just have the one base infantry profile. Yes, they've got Riv Knights, but that's their cav option. I just think all of these armies that only have one warrior profile, I just love if they came up with a second, because just having high elf warrior spam over and over again with different war gear is just so boring. And
you would have thought that the elves would have had different types of troops, wouldn't you? Not just
this is my point in picking the Knight of Dale. Is a perfect addition just like that.
Yes,
every faction needs.
Every faction, and just there are some which just don't have it, and it's just so boring. Where there's some Minas Tirith and Rohan that have loads of different options, different ways you can run it. Mordor, and those factions are just way more fun, I think.
Okay,
good point.
Okay, so next up we are going to go to Ash for your 5th pick.
So in number 5, we have got 3 of the same model. And they will be Grip, Fang, and Wolf.
That's a good pick.
Excellent. Thank you. So you get these warrior models with everyone's favorite farmer maggot, the Maglord.
Maggot.
And they are very, very, very good in your Shire list because they have 8 inches of movement and they are absolutely minuscule, which means you can hide them pretty much behind any piece of terrain. And they can't get caught by infantry and they can't get seen by shooting or magic. They are fight 3, strength 3, only defense 3, but that's bog standard for a Hobbit army, so you're not losing anything there. And their best special rule is the fact that they are the same courage as Farmer Maggot whilst he is alive, which is courage 5. So they basically make for the Shire or Defender of the Shire Legendary Legion, courage 5, move 8, objective markers, and they're the only small, tiny little dogs in the game, which makes them a unique pick. So I thought they would do.
Cute.
I thought they would do, make a cute number 5 favorite
Brave
warrior
little dogs.
profile.
They are brave little dogs. Yeah, indeed.
Do you have a favourite one of the 3?
Which has
Oh,
done you the best?
I think it's got to be grip. Who doesn't like a strong grip?
Indeed.
Grippy.
Who doesn't?
Gritty. That's
Um,
how Ash likes it.
I don't know what Ash does with his dogs, but don't know.
One of the best things about these models is, do you know in movies where the way to like build a hatred for a character is for them to kill animals, and when you're playing against an opponent, what you'll find is they love murdering the dogs, and they'll just go out of their way to specifically kill these models, not for any competitive bonus, just because they want to show that they are a terrible person, and I like to see it. You know.
I'm just happy that your number 5 pick wasn't something from the Mordor or Serpent Horde list.
Yeah,
Don't
agreed.
tease everyone too hard. They're totally coming.
Coming
I
up.
was actually going to have Mr. Maggot as in my top 5 heroes, so I'm glad you put him in the dogs in your top
I
5.
thought it would be a very unique pick that not very many people would have thought of.
Yeah, I totally didn't even think of it.
I didn't see that one coming, Ash.
I like it. I like it a lot.
I think the rest of your picks are going to get far more boring, though.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. I started off strong. Give me some slack.
You did.
Okay,
The first thing out of my mouth was that's a good pick. So
now.
I like it. Okay, so moving on, Vince, your number 5 pick. What do you have?
So for number 5, I've gone for the Uruk-hai Scout Marauder. So these guys, they come from one of my favorite scenes in the whole trilogy. Personally, I love the Amon Hen scene with the when you first see the Uruk-hai swarming
Alerts.
and just charging down.
Sean Bean.
It's super cool, and I think they're really well represented in the rules with their move 8. If you take them with Malher or in the Scout Legions, and having a move 8 infantry model is just super fun. With the drum, and they can move across the board super quickly, and they're really, really good fighters. So yeah, Uruk-hai Scouts, I love them.
I do like seeing a huge horde of them on the table.
Yeah,
it's pretty legendary.
And their war gear is really good. So the bows are very useful.
They're strength 3 bows, aren't they?
Yeah, the strength 3. So they used to be strength. They used to be just like the orc bows, which was a bit sad, and then they changed them to strength 3.
Really? Yeah, that's way more legit.
Which is actually a lot.
They're 18 inches.
Way more legit.
Yeah.
Still. Yeah. Ash.
One thing that you can find with the Uruk-hai bows is that when you drum, they've got move 8 anyway, so they go up to move 11. So they can move 5.5 inches and still shoot their 18-inch bows. So their range effectively becomes a strength 3, 24-inch, 23.5-inch bow, which is actually really quite scary because you can drum and march and then go, what is it? 14? Yeah, 14 inches. So move 7, able to shoot further than regular 24-inch standing still bow fire, and it's to see a horde of Uruk-hai go 14 inches up the board is pretty terrifying. And
considering in like Lurtz's Scouts or something, that horde is probably going to be pretty big.
How many did Craig? Shout out to Craig Lord of Moria again. How many
we can't go 10 minutes of podcast content without a shout out to the Lord of Craig.
Shout out to Craig. How many models did Craig have at City of Kings?
So
Oh yeah, you played him. Yeah.
in the seize the prizes scenario, he had 60, either 60 on the dot or 64.
Yeah, 64 models,
It's a
all
good
at
number.
strength.
I was on
Are
the
they all
table.
at strength 4?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All strength 4, I'm criminal, eh?
I was on the table next to Sam, and he was tripping.
Yeah. Scary stuff.
It was a good time. Yeah, I like the pick. Yeah, I love it.
Looks great on the table. Yeah.
Yep, love it. Okay, Adam, you're up. Number 5.
Oh, so knowing my counterparts to go for competitive choices, I've made my top 5 based on things that are kind of just fun to see or remind you of amazing moments from the films. So my number 5 pick is very similar to Lake Town. Obviously, Lake Town Warriors are like 5 points.
Yeah, 5 base.
Movement 6, fight 3, strength 3, defense 4.
Oh, is this Army Lake Town? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Courage 2, 3.
2.
Okay, so you can pay the same points for a model with 1 higher courage, with 1 less strength, 1 less defense, 1 less fight value, depends if Bard's around, 2 less movement, but magic resistance. And my 5th pick is a Hobbit Archer.
Oh my god, another one of my picks.
Let's go.
Ash is loving it.
Because I took Hobbits to a competitive 100-point GBHL tournament once. I generally really enjoyed it. Like, I think it was really fun, except for the moment where I was in KFC day 2 and I realized that I was on course for Spoon.
That kind of ruined the fun there.
And I was like, oh no, I've taken this really thematic army of hunting for Gollum, where I took Aragorn, Strider, Farmer Maggot and Hounds, Gandalf the Grey, and some Dunedain and some Hobbits. And it was just so trash. Just so bad. And I mean, of course it is, you got Hobbits, but
Man United.
Hobbits, you love them. You love to play against them, but ultimately they are criminally costed when you look at Lake Town.
Like, I like that Hobbits are bad though. I mean, that's just how they should be. They're not supposed to be fighting.
He has got a 3+ shoot value though.
I think I have a 100% record with Hobbits against you, mate.
Oh.
Yes, that is correct.
So
But, you know, that doesn't stop them from being
don't diss the
dog
little
shit army.
guys.
The little men.
Hobbit archers also have throw stones, which is clutch because, you know, when you've got a bow, you can swoop for a stone.
Why wouldn't you?
But yeah, no, I agree with Vince. Like, they're not supposed to be good. They took a nerf from the last edition, and yeah, they're not good. But
They
The models are lovely and
yeah, models are cool.
good for scenario play, I think.
Exactly, they're great to introduce people to the game when you take something like Hobbits and then you let them have like Hunter Orcs.
That do be a good time.
Yeah,
I know.
bring anyone into the hobby then.
It's good
It
fun.
reminds me of when I had an intro game and I had like 10 Necron warriors and you had 10 like guardsmen or something.
Yeah.
And just completely obliterating. I was like, oh yeah, I love this game.
For a game, it sounds like it's at a Warhammer store.
Yeah.
Typical behavior, really, isn't
Is
it?
it?
From
There we go.
Warhammer staff.
I know all about that.
Not that it's bad, I'm just saying.
Yeah. Okay. So Adam with the Hobbit Archer at number 5. Okay. So we've got 2 Hobbit picks already.
In fact, James only has 2 picks left. It's so funny.
It's outrageous.
Yeah, we're only 6 picks in. Okay. So we're going back to the start. James, give us your number 4.
Oh, well, that would be the aforementioned Hobbit Archer.
No way.
But as a quick
3
honourable
Hobbit
mention, as we've literally just had it, I'll take the Hobbit Sheriff. Because if you stick him next to a Sheriff Captain, they go burly, they start slaying everything.
I don't know if they slay everything, but I mean, they
really do.
Absolutely everything.
They potentially.
They really.
Oh no. 3 Hobbit picks in the top 7. That is quite something.
Interesting.
What is going on?
Everyone loves Hobbits.
OP faction.
OP, clearly. They were did we have them in Man United in the Legendary Legion tier list?
I think they escaped to dog.
Yeah, they were nervous for a while, which was.
Did we have them in
Sad.
nervous? You must have been like
You
2.5 hours
let
deep.
Ashley Walger sweet talk you all.
Nah,
That's not a way of doing that.
I have a very, very convincing set of arguments. I don't even know what you said.
I don't even know what's going on. Okay, so James came in with the Hobbit Archer at number 4. It's absolute scene so far on the pod.
It's a double damage.
My number 4 pick, I'm next up, is going to be the Rivendell Knight. Classic model right there.
Pick.
I mean, what is not to like? Firstly, I love the models. As a big Rivendell player when I was a kid, and the Rivendell Knights weren't out back then, to then come back to the hobby and see the Rivendell Knight sculpts, it was just something special. I really, really love them. Yeah. So the sculpts are lovely. And they're arguably the best cav in the game, like base. I mean, they're 5/5, strength 3, D6 with the shield because you pay for the shield. They come with a lance. They come with a bow. Obviously, you pay for that in the points for the model. But then they've got the elf, courage 5, expert rider. What else do they have that I'm forgetting? Or is that it?
That's it.
I think that's kind of it. Yeah. But
Yeah.
they're 22 points with the shield.
Yeah.
So they're not cheap, but they're just so fun to play with. The whole marching and then shooting with like Riv Knights and just kiting people is a lot of fun. And when you get them into combat, they kill stuff. So they're my number 4 pick. Ash?
Nice.
Yes,
They are also a really fun model to build because they're one of the GW nice plastic sets.
Plastic ones, yeah.
They fit together really well, as opposed to some of the fine cast stuff that is absolutely terrible. I hate it.
Yeah.
No, good choice, Elliot.
Still,
very...
Go on.
I was going to say they're really nice to paint, as they're again the nice plastic kits. Just a good model.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for the day where they're going to bring out some sort of new plastic warrior kit. Don't know if that's ever going to happen.
No, all elves for all time.
Plastic hero after plastic hero. I don't know.
Good pose.
Yeah.
Classic pose.
But yes, Rivendell Knight is my number 4. Sam, over to you.
Yeah, so from an expensive model points wise to another expensive model points wise, it is the burly Bjorning with a great.
Oh,
I thought about
Sam would picked that.
I was going to do
right. Shocker. So the only reason I've picked this guy is because he actually kills everything he touches. He kills everything he touches, and it's so fun to just murder everything. However, that is also their weakness. They murder things a little bit too far sometimes. I mean, they're fight 5, 20 points, so strength 4, 2-handed, so with burly, so essentially strength 6, 2 attacks, 2 wounds, courage 5. They're D4, which is their kryptonite. They're always within banner range because the classic 6-inch banners for the bears. They're just fun to murder stuff, but they do murder stuff too quickly sometimes, which is not really a problem you get all the time with most models.
Imagine crutching on, oh no, I killed my enemy too quickly.
That's how you know you're a trash player.
The low model.
This is going to start a terrible argument that we're never going to end.
Yes, sometimes they die very quickly, especially at certain GBHL 90, doubles events, don't they, Ash?
We did well there. We did well.
It's like when I played Ash at Hold. Was it Hold? It was Hold Ground, wasn't it, Ash?
It was one game back in.
It was a I think it was Hold Ground. Yeah, because I basically walked on, in one turn. I think every Bjorn. I probably had like 10 or 12 Bjornings in combat. Every Bjorning killed 2 each.
You killed 17 models in one turn.
Yeah, and then Ash,
my army was like 41.
Yeah, you were broken first. No, I killed more than that because you were broken first turn. We rolled to. You had 2 models in the center, and we rolled to see if the game ended, and then ended first turn because.
And I still won.
Yeah, so that's So, but there's like the other reason that I've chose, the not humble Bjorning, the not OP but strong Bjorning, is because of when it killed Adam's Witch King with 1 strike as well, and that's hilarious. That was like
Oh my God.
highlight. Contest. Adam flies his Witch King fell beast. Instantly, we both rolled a 6, and I win the roll off. 2 5s, fails fate, Witch King dead, and that actually made me draw the game because Adam was going to win if the Witch King didn't die. And that enabled me to.
I love that you brought that up last pod.
Yeah,
And
I was
now
going to
that
say
Adam's
that's 2
in this
episodes in a row.
Now that Adam's in this one, you have to slate him to his face.
Just in
Hell yeah.
case I didn't
No.
listen to it.
Just in case you didn't listen or didn't remember.
Well, like you said, Ash, you got to have models that you've had, that memorable moment with.
Exactly.
And that right there was a memorable moment to.
Remind us of a memorable moment, James, from the Night of Dale.
I
Still waiting
charged
on
it
that one.
with Huron,
Yeah.
and Huron took a wound.
Sheesh.
What a moment.
That was mad
Tremendous.
memorable.
Emma.
What a moment.
Tremendous.
So all I remember from that moment is when it happened, because I called a combat with the Witch King and he had like
Yeah.
2 friends. He had 2 friends with him.
Yeah.
And the point was to catapult them away because I had the prize and seize the prize on one of those models. So to move them away, get goal sides, and just the look on your face, like
You were pretty demoralised.
I just couldn't believe it. I had all 3 fate. Oh, just
It was lovely. I mean, I did feel bad, but
Did you do 2 wounds, Sam, or was it 1?
1.
One's all you need, baby.
I think I did 2, didn't I?
I did 2. Yeah.
I think I did 2.
Yeah.
The second one
So-
wasn't even needed.
Yeah.
Did you not even bother to take any fate rolls, Adam? You just took the Witch King off. You're like, oh, fair enough.
I even had a point on my left.
Yeah, it's plus 3 fate. It was the fact that he charged in, lost the fight, took 2 wounds, 2 5s, and then failed all fate with a point of might behind him. And then he drew the game because of it. I mean,
Your face was priceless because it was like,
I just thought there's no way. Like, this can't be happening. Surely not. Like,
So if that moment doesn't happen, Sam, you don't come second at the Jupiter
Contest.
100.
no.
Well, not that
Wow.
time. Not the time.
I mean, you got to get lucky to do well.
You have to get some luck.
Do indeed. Yep.
But it's all right because after that game, I was rewarded. I had a really nice game against the Salt and Helm's Deep, and then I won.
Oh.
and then I won. Once I won that game, I had a lovely game against Scott Warren. So you just get rewarded.
I
Infamous.
was rewarded.
I was rewarded the whole way through.
So you went from losing to Sam to playing Assault in your
Drawing
next
to Sam.
game. Drawing. You play Assault, and then you go on to play Scott at the infamous contest event.
Yeah, I mean,
Lovely.
yeah, I had a great game. 3 great games that day. But yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So Sam with the
They don't sound
Bjorning.
great.
Sam with the Bjorning at number 4. Ashley, what do you have for us?
So at number
Here
4, we have
fucking go.
the Serpent Rider.
I'll get a bit.
What a pick!
I'm out.
Talking of serpents, we're on a Cobra right now. Oh,
Oh.
I'm on
super
I'm on a
deep.
ball, baby. Sorry.
So the Serpent Rider you get for 13 points. You pay for a Fight 4 Lance cavalry model, which is fantastic. Cavalry models that don't have lances are trash. Because even on 4 dice, I think it works out something like 52%. You get a 6 on 4 dice. So 50-50 of the time, if you're charging with just a regular strength 3 cavalry, you actually kill the model you knock down. Whereas with the Serpent Rider, not only do you have a poison war spear, with the lance when you charge, you need 5s to wound. So they are reliably killing both the models they've charged and knocked down, which is just for 13 points. It's great. You charge a D7 dwarf, you knock it over again. You need 5s. They just never don't get their points back.
You do pay a price. You do pay a price for that though, with the D4.
Yes, you do. They are only D4.
Prices.
But when you're fighting against strength 3 armies, they still need 5s to wound. So it's like for 13 points, they're always a core aspect of the Ashley list. You just love to see them.
I believe
Great
you have
pick.
Soon to be the Elliot list.
Ooh.
I mean,
Elliot,
I'll take it to a practice day and suddenly it's my list. But
Elliot, it's a ranked
He's
long
addicted.
shacks event. Should we tell? Yeah, it's ranked, Elliot, mate. You need to up your game.
Anyway, you got a good list as well, mate, to be fair.
I'm taking this very
Hey, your list is
seriously. Yeah,
nervous.
I do have the most lemon list that's going.
I'm still annoyed he's got his 5 TPs back.
Oh, you
mate,
gave him the
you got a
back?
good list.
Yeah,
Yeah, because he's taken that list. That's
because it would be
fine.
complete.
You should give him -5 for that.
James, have you seen your list? I'm
Yeah.
playing that with my curse list, game 1.
Who's next? Who's
You
next?
don't know which list I'm going to use, Elliot.
Ooh. Vince, your number 4 pick.
So yeah, my number 4 pick is the Goblin Mercenary.
Good pick.
Nice.
Good pick. Thought about that one.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yep.
They're really cool. The only model in the game that can deep strike, just appear on a terrain piece, I think is a very, very cool rule. Representative of what they do, just appearing out of nowhere.
You heard of the Hobbit Archer, my friends?
Yeah, say the Hobbits.
All right,
Brilliant.
yeah. Of course. Hobbit
12
Archer.
strong Legendary Legion Defenders of the Shire popping up anywhere.
So
Behind the bushes.
are they, how is their ambush rule different, or is it the same?
So their ambush rule specifically states, the wording is something like any terrain piece that could conceivably hide a hobbit.
As
Well,
in, you need to put a mod. You have to put the Hobbit model fully in the terrain. Is it?
No, so the
is
Hobbit
it?
warband can deploy within an inch of the terrain piece that it picks, but it has to be a terrain piece that I think, quote, conceivably could hide a hobbit within. So it's like kind of left up to the gamer's discretion.
I see. So it's a bit more ambiguous than
Yeah.
the Merc one. Okay. Bit more flexible, maybe. Okay. And the other thing I love about the Mercs is how expensive they are. So I'll explain. So because they're like 5-point models, and I forgot how much they cost on Forge World, but
So
I just find it
52
hilarious.
quid, isn't it?
I find it hilarious how they decided to make the Goblin Mercenaries 4-Bjorn resin.
Yeah.
It's brilliant.
In their cash.
They are really good models. Very, very posable. Most intricate models that I've ever built, and 5 points apiece. It's really funny.
Forge World just makes stuff really unnecessarily complicated sometimes.
Yeah,
There's
exactly.
no way they're worse than Crabane. That is the worst experience I've ever had.
But James, do you have Crabane?
I do. They
I
made
need
me
you to-
cry while building them.
I need you to.
The
Yeah.
Dragon Emperor was
They-
the worst, most difficult model I've ever built.
Yeah, that did suck. To be fair, yeah, that really.
Yeah,
did.
that looks horrible. But Crabane's bad. It breaks every game, and the Dragon Emperor. I don't know. Do you have to like carve out like flash in between that, like the?
Yes.
So the gauze is
That
in
is the
between the
worst
sides
bit.
of the Dragon Emperor
Oh my
thing. You have to
God.
cut. Oh, it was literally the most miserable day of my life trying to build
Such
that.
shit.
that guy.
So yeah, all of that in the back, all that
That's all
light
filled in,
that
gets
you can
cut
see
out.
through there has stuff all in it, and you've got to get it
Ugh.
all out. What we found was the texture tool, the small side on that. If you like, basically ram it in.
Whoa.
It gets rid
What
of
was
it.
that, Elliot?
Say it with chest. Say it with
Okay.
chest.
But I haven't even finished mine. Like mine was that bad. I basically stopped as soon as it would be like tournament legal. So mine doesn't have the banner on the back. It doesn't have the big spike at the top. It doesn't even have an emperor on. It's the most portable
Just
legal.
got fed up of ramming it in the hole.
You could have made that so much better. You could have small side where you just fucking ram it.
Like, I don't know.
I
I
won't
don't know
make
how
it
I
too
feel
much.
about that Dragon Emperor model. Like, I'm not sure if I like it or not.
I like the on foot one. I think
No, the Dragon Emperor model is cool.
I think the one that is meant to stand on the top, I think that's a bit dead. But the one that's on foot, I think looks really cool.
I don't know. The palanquin just looks a bit strange. Don't know. Like the
It's not
guy,
very
more
Lord of the
the
Rings,
the
is it?
guy
It
is
does look like a bit
carrying
of
it.
a tank. But yeah, not very
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings. It's like in 300, the first one.
Oh, I was just going to say, yeah.
That is
Yeah,
such a good comparison.
That is pretty
Xerxes.
tanky.
Xerxes, yeah.
Yeah, is that who it is? Adam with the knowledge coming in. Okay, yeah. So Vince with the Goblin Mercs at number 4. I like
That's a
it.
great pick.
It's a
Yeah.
good pick. Adam, what do you have for us?
Okay, so looking at why we all entered the game, my next 4 picks are all to do with great movie scenes. So number 4, I've gone with the Warg Rider.
Well,
so we all remember the bit in the Two Towers when the flag is Gamling's banner is flowing and the music just pipes up. Eowyn looks at the guy that she loves. He rides off without any armor on, and Legolas starts pinging wargs from the distance.
James, I didn't know you in that film.
Yeah, let me just take my armor off.
Really?
Just such an iconic scene. It's so cool. And actually in game they're not bad. So I quite like the fact that you can do shenanigans with them, such as in Storm the Camp or in Recon, where you can dismount, especially if you've got your Mordor army bonus, because well, actually no, it doesn't apply to the Wargs because they're not an infantry model inside the Mordor range. But in general, you're rolling dice. Sometimes it stays, sometimes it doesn't. It's just great fun. And also, like what Ash was saying earlier about every cav needs, like good cav have lances. I mean, he's absolutely true, except against D6 when you got strength 4 anyway. I'd say it's probably the only exception.
Yeah.
So that's my pick, the Warg Rider.
Good, nice. Warg Riders.
Nice.
Have you ever had an extreme throwing weapon moment?
No, they usually miss, but you're only paying a point, so who cares?
If it does,
Yeah, they're really
You're
good
fine.
boys. Yeah.
On charge.
One of the only models you actually pay 1 point for a throwing spear as well. So
Just bargain basement, not even going shield, just go like 12 points, 13
Very
points.
good.
So good.
Could be a clutch moment with the spear. Okay, so Adam with the Warg Rider at number 4. James, we're into the top 3.
Number 3.
Number 3.
Number 3, I have the Son of Earl.
I was totally going to take the Son of Earl at number 5, but I cut it
Yeah,
off.
Sons of Earl are epic. 3 attacks on the charge, murdering stuff.
If
High
within
strength, piercing.
if within 6 inches.
Well, yeah, but you got to be pretty
running
brainless
Sons
not
of
to
Earl.
be.
It's a good mechanic. It requires, if it's just you go up strength 5 on the charge, then you get the 3 attacks base, then it's just a bit like, okay, they're really good, but it actually requires some thought and planning.
Yeah, I mean, just having 2 attacks when you're not charged is pretty good.
Yeah,
for a cav.
Yeah, but when you do,
they just destroy things.
I was recently ridiculed by it was definitely it was someone else as well for it. It was a bad reason that I decided to kill their horses instead of.
Yeah, it was totally me that ridiculed you for that.
It was James and Sam, I believe. Yeah, and
trash play from Elliot.
I don't know. Maybe we'll hear from the listeners, but I thought it'd be a good idea to kill the horses of the insanely killy cav models because that might take away some killing power. I don't know, but
were they by any chance?
But Elliot, aren't they just D5 and it's the same thing to wound?
They're D6.
They are D6. However, Elliot, you're not giving us full context of where the positioning is.
I'm just saying, in general. I mean, I got the first charge of the game. I got my whole line into his line. I managed to tag off all the sons.
When?
This was against Ali.
Oh!
It's happened! I genuinely thought you didn't know.
When?
Oh dear.
When did we ask?
Oh, what a good one.
Move
lasted
on.
7 episodes.
Move on.
7 episodes. That's pretty typical. Oh, well, 6.5.
I mean, in fairness, if it's easier to kill the horse than the guy on top, there's an argument to go for the horse.
So I was killing the horses on 5s and the riders on 6s.
Yeah, I don't think it's that bad, honestly.
No, it was worse than you think because they were playing in a bottleneck and essentially only like 2 riders could get in. But as soon as
that is not true. That is not true.
From the photo you were showing us, only like 3 horses could get in out of his 5 or 6, and then you killed the horses, which meant that there's still 2 attacks base, then with a spear support, and then more horses could get in.
I think there's an argument to be made that they could still do a shit ton of damage on horse. And that I might not have killed the riders if I went for the riders, but I did.
Were they charging your Easterling pipe block, Elliot?
So turn 1, I managed to tag them off because I won a heroic move roll off. So I thought I could lose the next 3 heroic move roll-offs, and then I don't get that chance again. So I went for it while I could, and I killed all the horses, and I killed like 3 out of the 5 horses. Which,
how many 6s did you roll?
I can't remember, but like it's still the same.
Enough to kill the riders.
It's safe to go for the horses, and I thought that was a good play. So anyway,
I think that depends on how much might everyone has, because if the Easterling players, if both players still have might, then
this was turn 1, like the
yeah,
first.
totally go for the horses.
Next pick.
There was still a lot of room to go around the flank with Earl, who was there, and then
Elliot,
get around the
you
back.
don't need to justify terrible
Next pick.
decisions.
Next
I'm
pick.
stop swiping.
It's awful. It's
Swipe
awful.
right.
Swiper, no swiping.
Anyway, moving on. James, you've done yours.
Not me, mate.
My number 3 pick is the Gundabad Berserker,
Oh,
That's a fun one.
which I love these models. So I have
Totally
6
a good model.
just up there, and I love them. When I painted them, it was like my first Forge World stuff, I think. Really, really like the models. They look really cool.
what do they look like, Elliot? Go get one.
I like them in the fit. I can totally get them. I think they're in a case. They're literally right there. And I'm not going to move everything off of it. But
Well, my eyesight
I
isn't
like
that
them in the
good.
films when they all come, like with Bolg at the end of the films. I think it's really cool. And I think the profile reflects like how they were in the films. They're move 8s that only fight 4 you can get on an infantry model. I mean, you can get like the ogres who are fight 5 on an infantry model in the Azog's Legion and Hunters. It's the only fight 4 model that you can get. It's obviously strength 4, D5. You can give it either a sword or an axe, so it can pierce to strength 5, or you can give it a 2-handed pick for an extra point, and then it's piercing to strength 5, +1 to wound. It's got the berserker save on the 6+, and it's courage 6, which is just perfect to just drop one into a list and have it be your model to sit near an objective, or however many. And they're 2 attacks as well, so they can kill stuff as well at strength 4. Have I left anything out? I don't think so. Oh, they've got the ancient enemies for dwarves and elves, which can come up. But really like the models. The move 8 is pretty insane. With lots of the fast moving stuff in Azog's Legion, the ogres and stuff, you can get like a warband of ridiculously fast moving stuff. And I think it's a really fun way to play. I'm a big fan.
Yeah,
That's a really cool pick from you.
This is a much better version of the Uruk-hai berserker.
Yeah.
The same points.
Yeah. So I'm a big fan. So they're coming in for me at number 3.
Like it.
Yeah. So
you
that
barely see them though.
I know. It's kind of I think it's because if you're trying to run Azog stuff semi-competitively, you end up leaving most of the monster stuff at home, although they're not monsters, but like the elite sort of stuff, and the monsters are included in that. You generally go Azog and spam. You might take a berserker or 3, and then like maybe a couple bats, but even then you're really starting to drop.
How would you change them to make them seem more on the tabletop?
The berserkers, we've had this conversation before in maybe one of the chats or something. I'm not too sure. I mean, there's a wider conversation about the Azog's army in general, where the most valuable thing about the berserkers is that they're fight 4 in my eye. Well, maybe not the most valuable, obviously the move 8 and stuff, but the fact that you get the fight 4 is a really big deal for a fight 3 base army everywhere. So I think getting that fight 4 into the Azog's Legion somewhere would make the army in general much more competitive. I know that answers a different question.
There's too much fight 4. I think they just maybe need some more interactive buffs with Azog, because Azog's Legion isn't that competitive, because as soon as you shut down Azog, then it's like, then what? At least if you shut down Boromir, Captain White Tower, he's still buffing the whole army.
Yeah, I think it's like, they've got these really cool monsters, like, they've got these cool profiles, and they do, but it's just they're not the most competitive at the mid to high level, which is a shame, because they all have really cool models, like half the range is all Forge World. It's hella expensive. But yeah, I really do love them. So that's my number 3. Sam, on to you.
Yeah, so my number 3 pick is everyone's most hated flying model in the game, the Bat Swarm.
Oh, spooky.
I think it's probably one of the best infantry or just warrior models in the game. Fly special rule, halving fight value, rounding down. It's really good objective cappers. always a menace when it comes to stuff like seize the prize. You can just totally lose a game off 2 roll-offs, which is really powerful. What else? There you have to play around them if you are taking, your more hero heavy army, or you have a big hero that doesn't have terror. As you can have a bat and just a stupid little prowler that will win against, a Gilgalad or something. So they're just really, really strong, and they get even stronger within AOL because of what doesn't get stronger within AOL. Yeah, I think they're just for 35 points. They're really versatile, and you always have to think about what they can do in every game. So
yeah. I remember the first time I ever played against the Bat Swarm. It was at what's the really big event that you guys were at in London when I didn't know you guys? I can't think of the name. The LGT. I was using Elrond, actually. I think it might have been the last time I used Elrond because I totally didn't know what a Bat Swarm did. This was like my second event, and he like insta died to a Bat Swarm, and I was like,
oh. You blame that on Elrond.
Yeah, that was the last time.
Yeah, good old Bat
Swarm. It's just an excellent model that, again, a theme with Sam, makes your opponent play differently because they have to defend against the Bat Swarm over the top, or the combat with a hero off a Bat Swarm to go over the top. Yeah, it's a difficult model to deal with, but it's also a difficult model to use correctly. So, good pick.
Stuff like, again, your Mirkwood Sentinels. You would have Sentinels. They absolutely love bats, Ben, when they're courage 2. Just compelling a bat and absolutely shooting the shit out of it, or having a hero charge it, knock it down and kill it. It's always worthwhile because bats are just it's just such good like utility pieces for any army. So,
they're also very expensive at 35 points.
Yeah.
And if you get someone paying the points for 2 of them, there's a reason why.
They
are hella strong. Indeed. I like the pick, Sam. Okay, Ash, we're over to you for number 3.
So number 3 is a model I have sang praises for quite a lot. It's only 5 points. It is an Orc Tracker.
Here we go.
There is never a moment in any game that I have played when I have used Orc Trackers that I've thought these were a waste of 5 points. For 5 points, you get a Fight 3, Strength 3, D3 model with an Orc bow, but they hit on a 4+. So they're actually very good at shooting, especially when the lines get close. They are very effective at taking out heroes' horses, killing models in heroic combats. They're just always a menace. And again, in combination with my 5th favorite hero, Kardish the Firecaller, they are a great sacrifice to the Dark Lord in order to get an additional D3 will points. Now, coming in at number 3, we will talk about one of my favorite and also luckiest moments, which occurred at the GBHL Masters against Will Champion, where Will charged his Spider Queen into 2 Black Numenorians. I then shot into this combat with 9 Orc Trackers. 4 of them hit, 2 of them hit my Numenorians. I then proceeded to roll double 6 to stop the Spider Queen heroic combating off of these 2 Black Numenorians. And for good measure, I did a wound to his Spider Queen. So moments like that, you think for 5 points, always a bargain. Always a bargain.
I think the main thing that you forgot about that story is the fact that if you didn't kill those 2 Black Numenorians, you would have had to heroic strike with both the Witch King and Saladin, because the Spider Queen could get into both.
Yes, absolutely. So the Spider Queen was in range of both my Witch King and Saladin. So
got away
it
with
was huge moment, and I got away with it.
Coming in clutch.
Yeah, very cheeky.
Very good point.
Get out of jail free card. Get out of jail free card, which was definitely not warranted, but it happened.
No. It basically won me that game for no reason apart from sheer tracker luck.
Evil shooting. Evil shooting.
Evil
Yeah,
shooting
evil
OP.
shooting, yeah.
Yeah, I'm currently painting up some third-party ones.
Very nice.
Nice.
Very
Of
nice.
my own, you've either got the blue paint scheme or the sort
The
of
skin coloured one.
the skin tone. Third party, Forge Master Miniatures. Shout out Sam Palmer. Ash, number 3. I like it. All trackers. Yeah, insanity. Vince, what do you have for us?
So number 3, I've got the Mirkwood Cavalry. I think, I mean, they're kind of similar to Rivendell Knights, except they're a lot cheaper points wise, and I just think they're very, very good value. So in conjunction with Thranduil, they get the 6-inch banner effect, which is very strong for cavalry, and the +1 to wound if they're within 3 inches of Thranduil. So even if they get charged, they're still 5 Elven Blade, and they can still deal out damage. And I just think they are very, very good cavalry.
Yeah. When they're charging near Thranduil, they're just beastly because to get that 6-inch banner, 5/5, obviously. Do they get the +1 to wound as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, if they're within 3 of Thranduil. Yeah,
Within
and then you can
3.
obviously do these funky plays with the crown, possibly like knocking down some guys and jumping over troops. So it's very, very fun.
Very nice.
And then I've got these third-party counts as Mirkwood Cavalry. So they're basically elves riding like reindeer or elks, whatever you want to call them. So I had this picture of doing like a big army of them with Thranduil and elk.
Pretty cool.
Cool.
That's pretty epic.
Okay, so the Mirkwood Cavalry for Vince at 3. Adam, number 3 pick for us.
3. So another cool moment from the Two Towers was one of the best horns in the game in terms of how it sounded. We got to hear it 2 times. Can you guess?
James with a
Are you going to play it?
Ooh.
You've got a horn.
No,
It's a drinking horn, not a blowing.
You blow that horn, James.
James
James,
blows a great
what
horn.
else do you have to hand in there?
Where's the sword from Zol? Get the sword right
I've got a Portsmouth there. I totally do have my,
This is great.
I've got my
content.
Zolt sword.
Go get Zolt's sword right now.
Go on, Adam, play
One
the horn.
sec, guys.
Hey, what's your pick, Adam? Go on, mate.
It is the humble Easterling warrior.
Mm.
Ooh.
That do be
What's it got to do with
humble.
the horn? I get it.
Yeah, I like it.
What's it got to do with the horn?
Hey, that is huge.
When they arrive to the Black Gate,
Call me Samwise the Brave.
Elliot, just
I just saw Ash's face just go.
that is huge, James. Quotation marks.
I hear that a lot.
Adam, tell us the story behind your pick.
yeah, just really cool scene when the Eastlings only got 2 scenes in the whole of the Lord of the Rings range when they were arriving at the Black Gate. You guys must remember the horn that they blow.
Oh
Briefly do.
yes.
Yeah.
But that's is that an Easterling horn? I thought that's a Mordor horn for them to open the gates.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's the
I
war
don't
chant.
think-
That's it. It's the war chant they're doing.
I totally debunked your.
Yeah, Eastlings don't have
What
horns.
a pick.
Adam's
Adam not having theme.
Big Lord of the Rings fan.
There you go.
I've never read
But,
the book, so.
They're doing this really cool chant and then they walk into the Black Gates. And I totally, yeah, they were my first army, along with
I didn't know
Mordor,
that.
Eastlings. But then I just, they've been shelved as soon as the Dragon Emperor came out because it's just ruined them.
Well, on the other hand, I picked them up.
There you go.
Yeah, Easterlings did kind of lose my respect the moment that they managed to not spot the difference between a cloak and a rock. That do be silly.
Elven Cloak.
Yeah.
Very
Play against
sneaky.
Wozes,
Okay.
you get accustomed to it.
I think they were within 6 inches though, but hey ho. I like it. Adam with the humble Easterling warrior at number 3. James, put your sword down. and tell us your number 2 pick.
My number 2 pick, best warrior in the game, Palace Guard.
Oh, we've got an actual
Confirmed.
James Goble pick. We like to
Yes.
see it. We love to see it.
Get in there, James.
I think I just cut my finger on the sword as well. I'll put it out of danger's way.
You're not trying this at home.
Yeah. Fight 6 next to Thranduil, big boys, fearless, bodyguard, +1 to wound next to him. Ultimate elf power.
It's a good pick.
James do be
Okay.
spitting. Say less. That's it. It's done.
When you
Well,
when you walk towards James's
Mic drop.
Thranduil's Horde line, and then you actually get in combat with it, it's so terrifying because they win all the fights. Then they actually murder you, unlike most elves, because they actually get the +1 to wound. Thranduil's
Yes.
Halls, especially the Palace Guard, are very, very, very scary.
So I actually played against Thranduil's Halls for the first ever time at the infamous 90. I think it was a 90 when I had the terrible assassination play against Rob Lewis. I played.
You can't hit at that. Go on.
No.
Explain.
It was
Explain.
we don't have
Elliot,
enough time.
Every podcast episode, we have a horrendous play from you.
We're gonna have to
So
tease
let's
that one.
continue this theme.
That's-
We're
They've
gonna
already
have
had
to
his
tease
bad
that.
Sons of
We're gonna
El
have to
play.
tease that one for another time. It will take far too long.
It'd be
But,
too long. wouldn't it?
So the next game after that one, I was rewarded by playing Thranduil's Halls for the first time. It was with my Emperor, so I was unaware of the whole knockdown, charge, and rape thing. And I quickly learned what that is.
What a statement that is.
Knock down
I'm
and
going
break
to see
the
his Bard's
charge.
kids.
And yeah, it didn't end well. So
Yeah, that is.
no,
Fair play.
oh,
Classic Thranduil move there.
indeed. So
Me when I forget about the knockdown charge rate thing.
or not. So James, yeah, number 2. Was that number 2? Yeah.
Yeah, number 2.
Okay, so it's my number 2 pick, and I absolutely love this model. I almost put this number 1, and it is the Dragon Cult. Acolyte.
That was an incredibly
Equal,
nervous
right?
reveal there.
Come on,
Elliot.
I love these models. Now, for our YouTube viewers, peep the axes. Peep the axes, the conversions. Big fan.
Fair
Love the
play.
profile. So in the Legion, the cool thing I like about the Legion is that it takes lots of the profiles, the warrior profiles in the list, and it just makes them better with the fight 5 and obviously the banner. So like the Cataphracts, for example, before the Legion and the Emperor, it's like, okay, they're not really that good value. Like they're pretty low down on the Cav list. But now you put them in the Emperor Legion with a banner and fight 5, they suddenly get better. And the Acolytes, when you can pay a point to give them axes, and if you get them within 6 inches of the Emperor, you suddenly have a fight 5 2 attack model who can pierce up to strength 4. Yes, they're only D4. You get throwing axes at strength 3, which are also really good as well. They're courage 4 base. When you break, they go up to courage 5. They have unyielding combat stance. And they don't have phalanx, which is a bit of a letdown. They've got unyielding combat stance, and they've also got the +2 to all jump tests, which can be quite clutch. You've only got to roll a 4.
Have you ever had a good clutch moment jumping over a fence to get an objective?
Not yet. Nothing really clutch yet. There was a time where I wanted to try and start running them a lot with Mordor, but it lasted a few events, and then I kind of put it to the side a bit. But I wanted to maybe pick it up again. But I was running like 9 of them at the front with Moran's spears behind, so you have 3 strength 4 attacks to wound at fight 5. So
It's cool until you lose a fight and they all die.
Yeah.
But I mean, against strength 3 armies, they're wounding on 5, so it's the same as like Lake Town and everything. But yeah, if you face strength 4, it can be a problem. And shooting, but that's why I took the Shadow Lord.
How far is his black dart?
I
Is it 12
can
inches, Elliot?
nor confirm nor deny. I knew I was going to come at the moment I mentioned the Shadow Lord. But anything else? No, that's it about the profile, really. Yeah, I just really love the models as well. The Forge World had a blast painting them, and I really enjoy using them, and I want to bring them out again soon. Maybe a tease for this weekend, boys.
Really cool model.
So that's my number 2 pick. Tough. They were almost number 1, but they're number 2. So Sam, your second pick.
Yeah. So just like a better version of Elliot's 5th pick,
I know this is what I was going to say earlier. This is it.
the Dead Marsh Spectre.
So dead.
Oh,
So almost had that in.
great
This-
pick.
This for 50 points. Holy shit. This is a good model.
Indeed.
I mean, it's again the same thing as a sentinel. You target an enemy model within 12 inches. They do a courage test. If they fail, you get to move them their full move distance that turn, just like a sentinel. However, I think they're actually better than a sentinel due to having Harbinger in the list with either whether you're taking the Witch King, the other two wraiths, Tainted, Womenake, or Gulliver. So the actual Dead Marsh, the Fell Light within them special rule goes off more frequently.
Yeah.
That's English. And then they are also, for Angmar, which is a very, very low courage army, they are also courage 6. So having...
Are they courage 6? I totally
courage
forgot
6.
That is wacky.
This is the thing that you need. They are great objective markers. You move up, you have an 18-inch hit range, move up, Spectre, move back. And they also have Terror, so it's not exactly like they could be charged like just for free. And they only fight 2, but they got Blades of the Dead as well. So wounding usually better than most things like the normal orcs. They're just really, really strong, I think.
Yeah, they're fight 2, but you ideally don't want any of them in combat the whole game. So who cares? Ash.
So in comparison to the Wood Elf Sentinel, the Wood Elf Sentinel gets 2 additional songs, but they are the Wood Elf Sentinels only courage 5?
Yeah.
So they're higher courage. They are 2 higher defense at D5. They have 2 special rules, Terror and Blades of the Dead, for 10 points less.
They're really good.
It's the fact that you get them in a elf list, but then in an elf list, you can take them with like Galadriel or something. But in Angmar, you could take them with the Witch King. So like,
I also feel like Sentinels are far more effective because they're against evil models that are lower courage.
No, well, not necessarily though.
Even with Harbinger,
that's just depending on
the map. Yeah,
Harbinger makes them even better because obviously then the courage tests are being resolved at -1 to what the dice roll is, which is really, really strong. But for 15 points, top tier pick.
If you're playing against evil as the Angmar player, you are laughing basically.
If we were talking about the previous pod, we were talking about most point effective heroes, most point effective warriors. This
has to be
Dead Marsh Specters probably top 3, maybe even the best one. So
yeah, you just need 1 or 2 of them, and they just do the job. They're just very cheeky, because you don't want to go too many, because otherwise you lose your numbers. But there's 1 or 2. They do a lot in the game.
There was a point where I actually owned like everything to do with Angmar. I sold it all, but I wanted to maybe start playing it. And the fact that like I think I've played you a couple of times, Sam, at like 800-ish, and you had like 4 of them.
I had 3.
Three.
You can afford to take
spooky.
It was maybe at Imps where you had 4, but like it's just a really fun interaction in the game, I think. And yeah,
there's not many models that can do what they can do, and that's what I like about them. Again,
yeah,
they make people think, and that is literally my play style. I like making people think. So yeah,
make people roll dice, and then if they fail,
brainstorm.
You get to move them.
Brainstorm. Needle.
Yeah, the Dead Marsh Spectre, I very almost chose that myself, but I'm glad it made it in, and at number 2 as well. So it's a solid pick. Ashley, number 2.
We've pushed the boat out here, and we have gone for the Gondor Avenger Bolt Thrower.
Ooh.
Didn't see that coming.
You've totally given away your number 1 pick now, but anyway, Karen.
No one will know. No one will know. So the Avenger Bolt Thrower is one of my favorite siege weapons. For 50 points, it is fantastic. It's got a 24-inch range, and it's effectively a giant crossbow of death that you put for 50 points in like a firing lane, and then you just watch as your opponent squirms and is afraid to walk towards it, and you really get to dictate the field that you're playing on when you have said bolt thrower. A list I am potentially going to run at 1,000 points for unnumbered tiers would be 4 of these bolt throwers to rain massive death and destruction upon any enemy that doesn't have blinding light.
How many models do you get with that?
So the bolt throwers are only 200 points for the 4 of them. So you just effectively get an 800 point Boromir, Hurin, Madril army, which is like 45 models, then plus the 10. Plus the 3, 6, 9, plus then the 12 bolt throwers. So you still get sort of 45, 50 models, which is pretty strong. But they're just such great fun. I think it's the additional luck that you have to take in account with the bolt thrower, because when you are resolving shots, you roll a d6, and that's how many shots you get for that turn. So if you're lucky and you get 6 shots with 2 of your 4 bolt throwers, you're going to have a really good time, and you're going to kill a lot of stuff, because the siege weapon mechanic is, because it's only a small siege weapon, you don't have to scatter. You just roll to hit, which you hit on a 4+, and then you do a strength 7 hit on whatever you're shooting at. So most things die on 4s. They're very scary against heroes. They're very scary against elite troops. Yeah, they're just great fun to have on the board.
I will say this is potentially the first controversial pick of the episode, because don't they each include a hero?
A hero, yes. Why don't you pick any?
And I absolutely knew this would come up as a rebuttal. So if you open, viewers and fellow podcasters, if you open your Armies of the Lord of the Rings book, they are under the warrior section.
They are.
So
does it have a hero keyword?
Still controversial.
It just has the command lieutenant guy with a mic.
The Avenger bolt thrower itself is the model I've picked.
So there's a point of
the siege veteran.
Is the weapon itself for warrior though? No.
It's a sus pick, and we'll move on. How about
there's
that?
A point of might in the profile, and might is only available to heroes.
It's under the warrior category in the Armies of the Lord of the Rings rulebook. Thus, I am correct and you are wrong.
Sussy pick. Move on.
We'll leave it there. Sam is eager.
Pick,
okay,
Sam is
moving on.
eager.
Vince, number 2.
Number 2, I've got the Vault Warden team. Yeah, I think this is a very interesting profile. Having D9 warrior models is very cool, and I like that they have to work in conjunction with the spears, so you get the -1 penalties of duels if they're not being supported by the spears. And they've also got the cool rule where you cannot brutal power attack against them. So then there are a lot of cool tactical plays you can make, charging them, pinning down a monster. And yeah, they're really, really they make Khazad-dûm actually very, very different to the other dwarf factions. It's a very unique warrior profile. And it's actually what made me want to get into them. That profile itself. Yeah.
Decent pick. I like it. They're interesting because I feel like you can go Khazad-dûm, you can either build more elite heavy with Vault Warden teams, or you can go the more just spam dwarf
warriors. Yeah.
And
they're actually very, very well priced. So I wouldn't even call them elite. I think is it 13 points for 2 models? For the team, I forgot how many points it is, but it wasn't that expensive.
I swear they're 25 for the whole team.
Is that what I'm thinking of? 20? Yeah.
Higher. Lower, sorry.
I'm pretty sure there were 25 points for the Vault
Or
Warden.
who can find it
Yeah,
first?
it's 25 points for the whole thing.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah. So what I was thinking was roughly 13 points per
I
model.
see. Yeah.
So yeah, 25 points.
Totally is 25, yeah.
Which is decent for a D9 shield and a spear. And they're your only access to actually to spears in the army list. So they can be useful for supporting your other dwarves as well if you
And you
want
get a +1 to wound against monsters with your foe spear.
Yeah, I forgot that. So yeah, they're very cool.
Yeah, agreed.
I like it. Okay, number 2 from Vince into Khazad-dûm. I like it. Adam, number 2. What do you have?
So I found the clip of the Easterling. So I just thought I'd play.
Let's see if I'm happy.
That's what you've been looking for this whole time.
That is terrible, and
Yeah, I can't hear
No
shit.
one can hear that.
Terrible.
inaudible for the viewers.
Appreciate the effort, though.
Continuing the theme of these sorts of war chants and drums. Now moving on chronologically, we've had 2 picks from the second film, Two Towers with the Warg Rider and the Easterling Warrior. The next time we hear a big army marching around, has to be the army of Gothmog. So awful in game, but sticking with just the warrior, who, as a few people have worked out, allies very well, and is actually a very good profile on its own, is the Morannon Orc.
Yes.
Humble Morannon Orc. You're paying 7 points, really good stats. It's kind of the model people measure against, right? So you pay 2 points less than it for 1 less strength, 1 less defense for the normal orc. You pay 2 more points for the Uruk-hai to have an extra fight value and courage. It's just middle of the pack. It's so standard. It's so good. It does everything averagely, and that's why it's good. Love
Timeless.
They are timeless.
it. Take 50,000 of them. Invade Gondor.
That's a lot of points.
Invade Gondor.
Yeah,
It's a solid pick. Morannons, you can't really go wrong.
can't go wrong.
They do be silly. Okay, so we're ready to get into the number 1 picks for
Drum roll, please, from
picks
everyone.
left, and we so far haven't overlapped a single warrior profile. Will that
You certainly
continue?
have.
No, the
Totally
Hobbit
out.
Archer.
Hobbit Archer,
Elliot,
mate.
you idiot.
No, but you then swapped it to a sheriff.
Oh yeah, that was just a little
Hobbits.
What else
mention.
was there? Yeah, nothing.
That's it. But
But
You've done
time
like
for the
30
second
picks.
overlap.
James.
The Wood Elf Sentinel.
Oh! Deservingly.
You
at
did that
number
last
1.
time with the Hobbit.
Yeah, it totally deserved to be at number 1. Wherever Elliot put it was 5. I think was disgraceful.
that's
My
true.
4 picks ahead of it are all better, but carry on.
Nah, totally not.
Thinking an acolyte is
That is
better
a
than a
rock move.
sentinel is.
Yeah,
Better in terms of like the makeup and the fun of the model, not just how good it is competitively.
It's opinions. It's opinions.
it's a
No,
wrong
opinions
opinion.
can be wrong.
They can be.
Not this rabbit hole. Oh no.
James, why do you love the Sentinel?
So no, he's cool. I love just bringing a model in, then putting Thranduil with like 10 guys on him, heroic combat, and then murdering someone instantaneously. It's great fun.
Sounds
Yeah.
impressive. I like it.
You'd be silly.
Exactly.
Are we going to be seeing
Especially
what
against
else?
some filthy person using like a Gulavar or something. You bring him in, you just smite him.
Have you got a favourite sentinel moment, Mr. James?
I totally do. It was at our home run 1,000-point tournament. I was playing Mr. Wooden Spoon, Oliver Martin.
Hey, first shout for Ollie.
I sentineled in Bolg, unexpected. Well, he was a double 1. He comes in, gets smashed in the face from a quad 6 from Thranduil. Then I then combat
Quiet.
into Azog and kill him in the same turn, and it was magical.
That's pretty savage.
As an Azog's player, that does make my heart crumble just a little bit.
That is proper James from you. I like it.
Hell yeah!
So yeah, that's James's number 1 pick, the Wood Elf Sentinel. Okay, sticking with the Azog's Legion theme. My number 1 pick do be the Gundabad Warbat. I love these models. So the models, again, just like the Berserker and the Acolytes, epic Forge World, the base. I love them. So I really like the models. They were a pain to put together. If you have them, be very careful. If you ever snap that leg joint, it will take you an incredibly long time to put it back on. But enough of that. The actual rules of the model. So they're obviously a 12-inch flyer. They're strength 4, fight 3, D4, 2 attacks, 2 wounds. I believe they're courage 4. So a good like infantry profile base, or are they courage 3? Sam,
Courage 3.
No
Courage
chance they're
4.
courage 4. That'd be correct.
It's got to be mad to think they're courage 4.
Fight 3, courage 3, yeah.
Someone's been cheating.
So, but
Doesn't sound like it,
the strength 4 D4 is obviously really good with 2 attacks on a flying model. So they're out of all like the bat sort of profiles, they're probably the most like combat able, I'd say. And then we have the special rules. So the first one is the pluck special rule, the main one. So any unengaged infantry model that you fly over at any point during your move, when you end your move, you can pluck that model up. You roll a dice on a 4+, they take a strength 4 hit, and on another 4+ after that, regardless of what happens with the first one, they're knocked prone. So it's either that way around or the other way around in what order you do it. But yeah, so any like Aragorn on foot, I've actually killed a halberad with a banner, knocking it prone, then charging it, which leads into the next special rule, which is any model that the Gundabad Warbat charges, its defense is lowered by 2, only for the strikes which are dealt by the Warbat. But if you trap it, well, it's prone anyway. If you get that off, then you're getting 4 attacks on like a D6 model is now D4 and your strength 4. So you now have 4 attacks.
That's a lot of damage.
So yeah, the utility with them.
It's a flex seal for that.
You can use them in the way of like the Moria bat swarms or the bat swarms in general to grab objectives and stuff. Yeah, they're not 4 wounds, they're 2, which is okay. But then you can use them in other ways as well, offensively, and also you can stick them just like behind your line. And if you've got like 3 of them and there's an Aragorn on foot, you can just keep on plucking over, getting free strength 4 hits and knocking them prone. So
how many points are they, Elliot?
They're 25.
25 points, and they
I thought they were only 20.
They're 25.
Am I correct? They can't pluck models that are in combat.
No, yeah. So
Okay.
so it's when you win priority, it's like you can do your tech with them. Yeah. So if you have like 3 of them, and you get a matchup where they can be abused, they can really get some good return. And I always like to run them whenever I can. I've never had a dull moment with them.
Yeah, they're. I've played against them a few times, and they are just entirely irritating, especially if you can knock over a banner. Or so, for example, you win priority as the player with the banner. You move, then the opponent goes, and they go, "Okay, I'll fly over, knock your banner prone, fly back," and it's like, "Oh, great! Now I don't have a banner." For 25 points, they are fantastic, but they are a little bit fragile at only 2 wounds.
Yep, at D4, James.
Can you pluck the same model more than once?
Yes, so you can keep on flying over it and just doing the strength 4 hit. Yeah, you can do that as many.
Yeah.
So if you have like 3 of them behind your line. So with like Narzug, if you have that in the list, if you're allying that in, or you'd ally bats into Azog's Hunters, you could snipe out a horse potentially on like a Gilgalad or something. Now it's on foot, and now you have chances with the bats to knock them over. You can get really quite tricky with it with infantry models.
Yeah, they're fun. They're good fun, and they are an additional movement tech that you can really learn to use effectively in your list, and I like that.
Yeah, they're probably the first pick of the elites in the Azog's whole sphere for me. They're really good, even 2 of them. Solid.
Really good choice. Yeah.
That's number 1 for me. Sam, your number 1 pick.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wonder if anyone here can guess what my number 1 pick is.
Oh dear.
Let's. I reckon it
can't.
is the Khand charioteer.
I reckon it's the Corsair Reaver.
Good shout.
Fucking bingo. Absolutely.
Oh,
That's good.
The Corsair Reaver. What a chad.
Ridiculous model.
There is no other model with the special rule like it. The Mindless Killers special rule, where they go absolutely batshit crazy and charge whatever they can, the most angry men in the whole of Middle-earth.
Raw.
They are...
I mean,
they are...
brother, just rod.
They have
Hurrah.
4, strength 3, D3, 2 attacks. 1 wound, and actually courage 4 instead of courage 3, like the normal Corsair warrior. And they are the glass cannons of the warrior glass cannons, and they're just amazing. You charge in +1 to wound if you fail your courage test on purpose, and then have a spear support, and you normally have a banner with you as well. So you've got 3 dice plus a banner, +1 to wound on the front guys. If you lose the fight, they're totally dead. However, just don't lose the fight. I mean, it's not that hard. They're just really, really good fun. They also, the key thing is you get the fearless. You're fearless when you fail as well. So any terror causing models, they're your guaranteed pass if you really need to, tie them up. Yeah.
Ashley,
Did you say that they had backstabber as well, Sam?
Yeah, so I was going to go on to. So they get the +1 to wound, but then with the army bonus, if you trap, you then get the backstabbers. So you actually get +2 to wound. And one of my favorite moments with these was against Mr. Ashley Walker's brother, Jack. And
Shout out to Jack in the
Jack.
Gollum's
Hell yeah.
Gamer podcast as well.
So I had these Corsair Reavers were absolute chads, and he was using good old Sauron, and I charged, I think it was 6 Reavers round Sauron, just with spear sports. He whiffed. I rolled a 6, and so I had +2 to wound with all my Reavers, 4 dice each. So I had 4 times 6, 24 dice, and without any of my spear sports, so I'm wounding him on, I think it was
4s by 4s.
3s or something like that. 4s by 3s, I think it is.
So
It's not 4s by 4s.
Strength
Might be
3
4s by
against
4s.
D10 is 6s by 6s. So
Yeah,
James is right, 4 by 4s.
Yeah, I was winning on 4s by 4s, and I didn't even need the spear sports. The Reavers just outright murdered Sauron in one turn.
I bet
And it
classic Jack fashion, he rolled a 1 instantly on the ring test.
He totally did. And
Hey!
actually, no, he passed his first one and then he failed his second one. But I think I did 7 or 8 wounds with these Reavers without the spear sports, and it was just the fact. So 54 points worth of models just instantly murdered a 400-point model in one turn. It was glorious.
Sounds like a good time.
Or Jack.
And the when
Free
they
up my guy Jack.
yeah. I mean, I've only ever had it once as well, where someone actually kills the bosun in time, so where they actually have to charge each other. I think
It's quite fun, yeah.
I
Sam,
think it was
that's
against Merpid
disgusting.
Rangers, so I just farmed it.
Is this why Jack hasn't returned to MESBG?
It was a while ago. No, he played it. It was before Imps, so I think Imps was his last straw.
Imps was the dagger there.
Yeah, but they're just really good fun, and there's no other special rule like it in the game. So
I do love how Sam and James be really deep in the caves right now.
I'm just chilling with
They
Gollum.
are,
Sam is allergic to sunlight, so
they are, and James is on the same path.
you're the one that got sunburned like the other day.
Who, me?
yeah. But at least I venture outside.
Yeah, I do. You're the one who's going, oh, give me the shade. I can't see in the sun.
Ash has hatred of sunlight.
I get +1 to wound against all sun creatures, so I don't know what you're saying.
But yeah, of course,
Yeah.
silly pick.
Number 1 from Sam. I like it. Okay, still no real overlaps, sort of. Yeah, ish. Ashley, number 1. Tell us.
I'm not even going to ask if you can guess because you totally can. Number 1 is the Black Numenorian.
Yeah.
It is a warrior profile that for 9 points is fantastic. You get excuse me, a fight value 4, strength 3, d6, 1 attack, courage 4, excuse me, terror causing model. And for 9 points, he synergizes fantastically with my number 1 pick for heroes, which was the Witch King.
See the synergy there, Ash.
the synergy. So
Nice.
how I like to play is very oppressive. You have a Black Numenorian front terror causing line with a Witch King in support, where you then don't allow the opponent to play the game because with Harbinger they can't charge your terror causing Black Numenorian front line. If you compare them to the likes of the Moran and Orc, as Adam stated earlier, if you give a Moran and Orc a shield, they are also D6 strength. Sorry, they are also D6, but they get an additional strength to strength 4. So for an additional point, you get an extra 2 courage and an additional fight value and an additional special rule, which is terror. So
for 2 points.
For 2 points, but
2
you'd
points.
always give around an Orc a shield to make it D6. So for an additional single point, I think that stat lineup is phenomenal. And Sam and
Busted.
James, very, very, very good. And Sam and James have had to deal with my Black Num Terror shield wall a hell of a lot.
OP models, yeah.
What we take bodyguard.
Yes. But another thing you can say about them is they're courage 4, but as they have the Mordor keyword in their profile, if you outnumber your opponent, they get the additional courage. So they actually become, yes, James, courage 5, baby.
I love taking them, and towards mid game, I just send them off for objectives because this is not running.
They're the same courage as elves if you outnumber your opponent. Again, for only 9 points. They're a fantastic model, and I love to use them. Apparently, they're quite difficult to get hold of. So if you are lucky enough to buy them when they were in stock, again, your quid's in. But Black Numenorians, number one pick.
Shout out to Forge Master Miniatures.
We've had a lot of shout outs this episode.
Get your hands on some of these.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they do.
Should we shout out Craig again?
Let's shout out Craig, Lord of Moria, just because he's a guy.
Indeed.
Yeah, he's having wargaming. Great place.
Shout out to Sam for coming out the cave.
Sam's turned on the light. I'm surprised he hasn't instantly despawned, but well done, Sam.
I'm actually really annoyed. So I went to go get a beer and I couldn't find the bot opener. And basically on outside we have a bot opener that's attached to the wall. You crack it on there. Someone has clearly fucking thrown these beers around to shit, and I go rocket fuel goes and it's gone all over me, and I'm really angry.
I didn't know this from you, Sam.
Really angry, like a Corsair Reaver. He's really angry.
Yeah. Cheers to that, Sam.
Yeah, cheers, mate. My sleeve, you can't see it because it's like really dark and black, but it's fucking
heavy on.
Okay, triggered.
Number 1 pick from Ashley, the Black Numenorian. Who would have thought? So, Vince, your number 1 pick for us.
So, for my number 1 pick, it kind of rounds off our kind of collective top 5 lists, and that's the Crabane.
Oh,
so we've actually
number 1.
Yeah, so as a group, we've somehow ended up picking the 3 infantry flyers, haven't we?
Are there any others?
No.
Apart from Eagles.
No.
Yeah, but
yeah, totally as Eagles.
Eagles don't count.
Eagles don't count, though.
They totally don't.
So that's gonna spark off the debate on which flyer is the best out of those 3.
That is a very juicy topic.
It's not the Bat Swarm because it wasn't even picked up.
I'm voting the Crabane personally.
I think the Warbats might be the 3rd pick.
See, I am voting Bat Swarm, Moria Bat Swarm.
Yeah,
the ability
are the best.
to half the fight value is criminal.
Right, so the Bat Swarm's 35 points, the Warbat's 25, and the Crabane's 20. So we've got the Crabane in at the cheapest, and arguably the most survivable, because you need 6s to hit them, which is with shooting, which is very cool because you're not really touching them in combat if you don't want them to fight. So they're pretty much invincible when it comes to like reaching like a far objective, and unless your army breaks and you need to take courage tests, they're not really going anywhere. So in that regard, I think the Crebain is probably the strongest out of them.
The fact that you can get 2 basically for the price of a bat swarm is pretty nuts.
See, Crane are really good, but I think stuff like bat swarms are better because they're kind of like multi-purpose. Like a Crebain is your objective, stuff, and you savor them for that, but they don't provide that negative or half fight value as well. And I mean, if you take them in, so if you take bats, and obviously if you take a Druzag, they can then be enraged, which gives them another opportunity. I think bats, for the 15 extra points you pay, they are worth the 50 extra points you pay.
Ashley.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah.
I was just going to pile in on what Sam said. The Crebain and the Gundabad Warbats are basically strong flying models, but the ability to take out a Glorfindel, a Sauron, any expensive hero model by halving their fight value for 15 extra points is such a phenomenal rule that I don't think you can really overstate how powerful it is. It makes your opponent play in such a completely different way. Against the Warbats, you play normally and then you just have a model being prone all the time. It's like, oh, that's annoying. Against the Crebain, you have to defend your objectives slightly more effectively. But the Bat Swarms completely change how you facing against them actually deploy your lines, because you always have to have a model bite on your hero. You can't get someone charged by a Bat Swarm and another model. Their ability to eliminate your opponent's high value models is just it makes it the best. It makes it the best bat.
They have to be a lot more rigid with them than they would otherwise want to be in like every other game.
Yeah, well, I guess that explains why they're considerably more expensive, right?
Yeah.
So 35 points versus 20. So you'd expect them to be, better, and they probably are worth it for 35 points.
For Warbats, do you have to have, like, if you fly over a model and then go back, do you have to be able to land at the point and then go back, or can you just
hover
it like it's not landed?
So you have to decide where you're going to end your move,
Before
and then at and then but then you could move 6 inches away from where you want to end, so that you do fly over a model that you want to pluck, and then fly 6 inches back to where you want to land. But you have to decide what you're doing before you do the plucking.
I see. So you don't have to fly 6, land, like you don't have to be able to land.
It's just at any point during your move.
Okay.
So you're effectively, Sam, your Gundabad bat could stay still, and you can just measure 6 inches to a model you want to knock prone, and just go, I'm going to fly, come back. Oh, are you prone? 4+? Yes.
Yeah, I was just thinking, if it's a case of you have to have the space to land and then fly back, it's then you just do anti-fly formation, it's fine. But if you just hover over, it's It's
like if any part of the base like hovers over the other model's base, that's all you really need to do. But like we were saying about the Crebain, like they might only feel like one roll well. I feel like the Warbats might be able to fill the role that a flyer needs to, while also being able to do more offensive minded things as well.
So we could say, as the Gollum's gamers, we would rank in our tier list Bat Swarms, Lemon, and then Gundabad Bats, Nervous, and then Crebain, Dog.
Crebain are just not dog though.
No. In the bat tier list specifically, ranking only bats.
They are
birds. Not bats.
Hard disagree.
Yeah, Adam called Crebain broken at one point.
Yep.
Here we go. Adam coming in with a hard rebuttal.
Okay, so when you're playing this game, what wins you the games is the victory points. Okay. And the Crebain can solve so many victory point condition scenarios better than any other flyer. They are Courage 3, which is the highest of any flyer, joint with the Warbat. They are the hardest to kill because they're at 4 wounds and cannot be shot. So they're more survivable than a Warbat because they've got twice the wounds.
Yeah.
But they're higher courage than the Crebain, than the Bat Swarm. So they're the most
They also get
survivable.
rid of, sorry, they also get rid of Stalk Unseen, which is another nice little rule that they get. Yeah.
And they're also incredibly affordable. You pay 20 points for one model. So for 40 points, basically the points of a bat swarm, you get to take 8 wounds, which you can't shoot. It's so strong. They do nothing special. But I mean, playing against Vince, I mean, he can play them reasonably well. Like he gets them trapping opponents by not even charging. You know, just going around the back when you've got alert striking in or Saruman's done some sort of immobilize. When played well, Crabane are so useful. You don't have to use flyers just to do the halving fight value or the plucking. The fact that they can win you retrieval, they're probably the best at doing any of the flying shenanigans because they're the hardest to kill and the most survivable, means that they get you the most points.
I'd say that they're the best, like you said there, at filling the pure flyer role. I guess it's, can you steal out of the other two fill that role? Not as well, but then you get other things on top of it as well.
The problem is, if you're taking 2 bat swarms, you're investing 70 points.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
But you can instantly kill a hero with those bat swarms.
If the player knows what they're doing, then you can't. Like, if you're playing against someone who is good at the game, they will understand what Spider Queen plus Bat does.
True.
Oh yeah, 100%. But like
sometimes it's unavoidable.
It is, yeah. No, after a few turns and move roll-offs go certain ways, yeah, of course it can happen.
I guess it's a case of, I mean, it's only, I'm thinking when it comes to like the courage, if you take them in AOL, bats are courage 4 because of Druzag. Like some of the stuff that gets negated in that sense. And I think
you don't necessarily have to take them in AOL.
Oh yeah,
take them with Druzag.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're taking them with Druzag, you'd
probably
you might as well take an AOL.
Yeah, no, agreed. But just saying.
So I think Games Workshop actually thought about the rules really, really well, because Crabane exists in the list with an immobilize. So that's fair. I think the Warbats exist in a list with fight 7, so they don't necessarily need to halve fight value. And I think Moria need all the help they can get with dealing with big heroes. The problem is when you start introducing legendary legions, which kind of swap things around, so you start to get invisible bats and Warg riders or Warg marauders going in at a higher fight value and just rinsing something. I mean, that has skewed it a little bit. But if we're not talking about AOL, I think all 3 flyers are lemon in their individual lists.
Oh yeah, guaranteed.
1,000%. 1,000%. Yeah. But Adam, if you had to tier list in the flying bat category, how would you rank them?
Birds.
So AOL bat swarm.
Birds.
AOL bats.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just an AOL, and then you've got below that. I'd put in silly nervous like the Crabane, the bat swarm normally.
Okay.
And then top of nervous, I'd put the Warbat, and
I think that's a reasonable tier list.
We're splitting hairs really on
agreeable
on the functionality of the bats.
They're all good.
Yeah,
all the flyers are good.
Yeah, that was a good little segue topic there.
It
took like 20 minutes, and I love it.
Good
Moving on to Adam's number 1 pick. Let's hear it.
Another part of the films with a great war horn. When all hope was lost, you know what's coming.
It's actually their horn this time.
Aragorn puts on his armor. So does Gimli. 300 Rohan just standing there waiting for it. All hope had been lost. And then
Wait,
comes...
pick the Uruk-hai warrior.
I have absolutely not. I have picked the Galadriel warrior.
Oh, okay.
Adam, the pauses between your sentences are incredible.
Wait, the Galadriel warrior.
Are we talking about?
We're just talking about Pelennor Fields.
I thought it was Helmshorn.
Oh, sorry.
Helm's Deep.
Helm's Deep. You know, so they were like
Horn of the Hammerhand.
Yeah.
You know, when you see those Rohan warriors where they're just so fucked, and then they hear this horn, they're like, hope comes back, and you see them just march up, and and they're just the smiles on their faces are just like, oh, it's on, lads. We've got a
Not
chance.
in the books though.
Wasn't in the books. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's an
but
L take.
Cringe.
neither were half of the heroes we voted for.
Career. It's actually pronounced Galafrim as well.
Yeah,
not
Galafrim.
Oh my gosh.
Duh, you nerd.
Okay,
You fucking
syllable.
Ree.
Celeborn. Sorry, Adam. Please continue.
Adam's picks have been very themey, and I do love it.
Mega themey.
Except the Hobbit Archer.
Yeah, that's just an OP model.
That's a sus
Okay.
pick. Yeah.
So, Galathrim. Shout out to what I might be painting for unnumbered tiers.
Are we all going to our number tiers then?
Tease. Are we all going? Has everyone got a ticket?
I am.
I am.
Huge foreshadowing for a list tournament preview.
Mega list review.
Mega 1,000 point.
That is going to be a silly nervous episode. Okay, so we've done everyone's top picks. Now, did we have any honorable mentions, anyone? Ashley.
So I had an honorable mention, which Sam will probably laugh at, and that is the Guard of the Fountain Court. Ah! To have a fight for D7 when you give him a shield model with the bodyguard special rule is fantastic. And although they are 11 points each, I personally would take them with Boromir in order to get them up to fight value 5. But I think the bodyguard special rule is so undervalued that the ability to know that a model will stay on an objective, to know that a model will stay and able to charge a terrifying foe that you need to in a very crucial moment of the game, invaluable. So yeah, my honorable mention would be the Guard of the Fountain Court.
Fountain
in
Court.
Minas Tirith.
Sam, yeah.
I'm very shocked no one said Rohan Royal Guard.
Bodyguard theme.
Yeah.
James kind of summed it up for me there. It's just pretty naff.
Nah, mid.
Yeah,
Super
Royal Guard's
expensive.
So good.
mid.
Yeah, I'm surprised no one said them. I'm surprised no one said Guard of the Galafrim Court.
That was going to be an honorable
That
mention of
was-
mine, Sam.
Yeah,
Oh,
They are the only...
Sam stealing all the thunder.
They're the only
Wow.
natural fight 6. So with Rivendell, yes, you can get fight 6, but you need to bring Gil-galad. With Halls of Thranduil, yes, but it comes down to where Thranduil is. The fact that you can just pay, is it 12 points? And you know that you are going to get fight 6 wherever you want it, and you can take 4 of them is insane. They're so good. Great profile.
Yeah, the new 4-droid models, though, I'm not a fan of those. What do you think of those?
I do not know why they randomly decided.
They make them too cartoony, don't they?
Yeah. But
Yeah,
the other models were fine.
the other models are great.
The other models are fine. I've got them. Yeah, they're absolutely fine. I don't know why they did that.
I've got them. Quick flex.
Did you have any more mentions, Sam?
yeah, I actually had the one I was going to say. I actually had the Humble Orc Warrior as an honorable mention,
Orc Warrior.
mainly because I'm thinking it in the sense of the Angmar list.
Mm.
An Angmar.
That's your only option.
No,
Adam takes them in Mordor as well.
you take Orc Boys anywhere, yeah, like most places. But like
Yeah, they fill the gaps.
especially because they feel it was either between them or the Lake Town militia because they feel the same role of
Another
dying
Lake Town
slowly.
Warrior profile.
Yeah, they feel the same role of dying slowly. However, again, you're paying 6 points for fight 3, strength 3, D5 with a shield. Courage 2 instead of courage 3 for a Lake Town. Then you gain terror when within 3 of a friendly hero. And having all of your orcs have terror for 6 points to help them die even slower is so good. So I was on the fence between both of them, and I only just chose Lake Town because of the weird rule they have. But I thought the Orc Warrior was a cheeky one.
Thank God you didn't go with the second Lake Town Warrior profile. That would have been horrendous. Any honorable mentions from Sam, James, Vince? James, Adam, Vince?
Black Root Veil Archers. Cool models. And if you get a little niche heroic shoot, you can annihilate something with the reroll to wound.
The
Just a
fact
cool
you
little thing.
haven't had a woes as a honourable mention is poor.
Because they're shit.
Yeah, they don't need to be mentioned. They're that
It
good.
means
It's just
to
a
be.
well-known fact.
It's your favourite, not competitive.
You've literally chose all 5 competitive models, mate. What are you on about?
Hobbit Archers are not
Grip, Fang,
competitive.
and Wolf being competitive out here.
Yeah, you don't leave a Shire army without them.
I'm just disappointed in James. That's all.
Yeah.
Adam, Vince, any honourable mentions before we wrap this up?
Sam stole mine of the Rowan Royal Guard. I was going to say that one. Yeah,
Guards.
on horse. Yep.
Nice. Okay. Adam?
These little fellas.
The Haradrim Warrior.
Rohan Warriors, there's
really?
nothing special about them at all. They're the same as Rohan Warriors, but they got poison. They can't take shields, they can't slow down, there's no tricks to them. They're just basic, but they're so good on mass. Like that 600-point tournament, I brought 46 models the other day. It's just they do nothing great, but it's just cumulative gains of just having loads of models. At Courage 3 as well, Fight Value 3, it's just solid.
The amount of times that you roll a 1 and then re-roll that into a wounding score dice is so satisfying.
I bet.
I also thought Adam was totally going to go for, your Abrakan Guard kind of vibe.
That's true.
Yeah, they're good.
I'm also surprised.
I just don't agree with the whole like Games Workshop metric of being fat is better.
What up?
Also,
How are they strength 4, so essentially strength 6, when
Overweight.
Elliot's beefed up lads are only Courage 3?
To be fair though,
Strength 3.
to be fair though, if you look at boxing, like if you've got a little bit of fat on you, it does actually make you a bit more durable in a
Bit
fight.
more weight behind you. Yeah. I did have one honourable mention. It was mentioned in passing by Vince, but I'm surprised this wasn't picked up, and it is the Uruk-hai Warrior. Arguably one of the best warrior profiles in the game. Fight 4, strength 4, D6 with a shield. 10 points. Courage 3 could be a bit better, but in terms of they're like better Morannons, yes, you pay the points for them, but in most Isengard lists, you're usually going to get a lot of them. And Fight 4, strength 4, D6 is perfect. They're
go on. Yeah.
No, that was it.
So when you say best warrior profile in the game,
One of.
it should be, but unfortunately, it's just overshadowed by the Black Numenorean.
They just are slightly expensive, aren't they?
Yeah, they're slightly.
If you compare the two, it's 1 point more than a Black Num, and arguably it's worse.
Yeah.
So I guess it's you trade. Yeah, it's all trade-offs, right? But yeah, you get the natural strength 4, which obviously with the Black Nums you can get elsewhere from the Morannons. But yeah.
It's because Black Nums are undercosted.
Black Nums cause terror.
No.
And
Ash, don't try and make this argument.
It just makes the Uruk-hai Warrior Fight 4 is not as good as it used to be. Fight 4 is just kind of average now. And
they just fall in between everything they need.
Yeah, and it's kind of like, well, they're beating really crap stuff only, but then when you're actually facing good troops, they kind of just die. And 10 points, although it's kind of okay points-wise, I think it's just a little bit too expensive for what you get nowadays. It used to be great, but now everything's kind of overtaken them, which is sad because I love them. Yeah, they're kind of so iconic and great. Yeah, they're a very good model.
Yeah,
lore-wise and model-wise.
Good fun.
Yeah.
So any closing comments from anyone? I'm
surprised. I also thought someone was going to say a half troll. I don't know why, but I thought half troll.
I did think about it. They're cool, aren't they?
Half trolls are strong.
Yeah, half trolls are really good.
And the one that almost made my list was actually a Warg Marauder.
Nice.
They almost did. I think they're really, really good.
Fun.
Yeah, they're really good, and the rules you get are, like I said, like Ash said, they're fun rules.
I almost went for a Mirkwood Spider. I think anything that you can shoot paralyze at someone, that's pretty fun when it goes
Yeah.
off.
I was going to agree, but if it was on a 40 mil base, I would have put them in there, but it's not.
Yeah, just when you if
Massive,
you
aren't
get
they?
it off on like a 5 or a 6, that is
Yeah.
a proper
I had an epic spree
cool
with one of them
moment. Yeah.
against like 6 Riv Knights in a row and just splattered them. It was epic.
The fact that you invest the points in that very small chance and then it pays off on like a really big hero, it's epic.
The only other warrior profile I thought about was the Grimhammer.
Yeah.
When you upgrade a Grimhammer to King, is it Kingsguard again?
Guardian of the King.
That's the one. They get strength 4, D7, fight 4, but they also get throwing weapons. So when you play an army of Thrall and you come up against sort of a 14, 15 long dwarf battle line, they win priority and then they run at you and throw weapons at strength 3, hitting on a 4. They can do a lot of damage, especially if you're not D6. And it's a model I've used a few times in practice games when I've used Army of Thrall, and they're just great fun. And I also know that they are super easy models to build and paint. Again, talking about that lovely plastic GW sculpt. Super easy to build, super fun to play with, and who doesn't love throwing weapons? Bring back the throwing weapon memes.
Yeah. Moving on to other throwing weapons and not plastic models, unfortunately. Since you mentioned about dwarves, big fan of in Khazad-dûm the Iron Guard. I really like the models with the masks on. Again, 2 attacks, strength 4, throwing axes. Yeah, they are D6, but it's sort of like the acolytes as well. Just the 2 attacks at high strength. With a throwing weapon, I think it's really cool. And also on the same page in the rulebook is the Khazad Guard or the Hearth Guard, if you're taking them with Durin. Again, really like the models. Strength 4, burly, with an axe you can pierce, and your D7. Yes, only 1 attack, but you're killing. And I really like it.
Yeah, I love Khazad-dûm. I think the models are great, but unfortunately Bjornings make them unplayable.
Also, the lack of spear spots just makes Khazad-dûm absolutely terrible.
Yeah,
it's a dog tier faction.
Nah, it's definitely not dog tier.
Yeah, it's not dog.
It's not dog?
No, it's not a dog tier faction.
Nah, it totally is.
No way.
Yep.
It's stuck in nervous though.
I don't think it's dog tier. I think it's pretty good.
I think it's
in
dog.
the right hands. In the right hands,
it's definitely not dog tier.
Definitely a dog tier faction.
You have to do an all factions tier list.
We totally will.
Armies of the Lord of the Rings.
Army of the Lord of the Rings, Army of the Hobbits. Huge teasers from behind the scenes.
Which is better, book tier list.
Sam, why is it not dog?
Because the heroes you get are some of the best pointed heroes in the game.
Dwarf King's cracked.
And the actual warriors, like when you play them at the right points levels, they're actually hard to beat if you don't have the tools to get through dwarfs.
Especially, so what's a good points level? Or you mean like really high points?
You know, you're 700 plus.
So I may be taking them to Bert's 90 point event at 805 points, and you get Durin, King's Champion, and a Dwarf King with 46 models with all the upgrades on the Hearth Guard, Iron Guard.
Yeah, but you can still only get 1 rank of those into the 2 deep rank of the enemy, and then you just lose and die.
Yeah, I played against Ali when he used it recently, and you get a really long line. Providing the scenario and the board, but you get a really long line. You have troops behind to fill in the gaps when your warriors die at the front.
Do you have 2 banners in the list?
You used it well.
King's Champ, so he has 2 banners.
King's Champ, yeah.
Got 3 Fight 6 heroes on foot, which could pretty reliably kill.
Yeah, it's 3 Fight 6 heroes. Your line's long enough that you can have a rank behind, and then also the size can come in.
Yeah.
Have you ever played Khazad-dûm and thought, "Oh, this is going to be a tough game"?
Yeah,
because I haven't.
I played it at G-Boot 750, and he had like almost 50 dwarves. Like, that's just so much to get through.
It's the fact they can only bring 1 rank to bear, and then they're only rolling 1 dice within unless they're within the 3 inches of the king's champion, which usually the person keeps the heralds next to him to buff the king's champion. It's just rolling one dice just isn't good enough, and
but
you
that's
just do
also
lose.
that's assuming that in every combat it is a 1v1 and that you're not getting two. If you win priority, you're then able to dictate, where you're getting more dice into combat.
I'd love to see you play Ali's this and then tell me their dog.
Yeah.
Well, if Ali was only bringing it this Sunday instead of using some cheese dragon emperor, we would be able to see, wouldn't we? But yeah, let's
650, at 650 you can only run it with like Barlin.
You never know. We might tease some bat reps, but
at some point,
if he wants to, we could do a bat rep on that, and you can be the cameraman, Sam.
Yeah, I'd enjoy you losing. It'd be funny.
No. Okay, and on that note, that is going to wrap up this episode. So it's been another top 5 list of all of our favorite warrior profiles. We're going to have many more of these coming out, and as we get towards the summer, lots of event coverage for all the GBHR events that we're going to be spamming. So thank you for watching episode 7 of the Gollum Gamers podcast.